Assalamu alaikum. I'm Malik Hodge, an angel warrior of the Midwest and a messenger of the covenant. Representing the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, the self-taught one, Master Suleiman, has given us the angel, the gospel of revelations, with the angel key that gives us the understanding of the unsealed scriptures. We're going to begin this presentation with the Holocaust. The Holocaust. The 400 years of terror. The 400 years of suffering. A people taken from their land and brought across the world to a land a strange land. A people being dehumanized, beat, whipped, castrated, mutilated, raped, sodomized, these are just a few things that we've experienced in the hills of North America. And when we say dehumanized, we were not human. Our language was taken from us. Our knowledge of ourselves was taken from us. From 1555 to 1619, 64 years of horror and terror, 64 years of being brought into no knowledge of self, being snatched our languages away, our children being raised as animals, put into cages, separated from their parents, raped, made to have master's babies, and broken down and filtered in by demons and made to serve master. 24/7, 365 for hundreds of years. There's no one on the planet that can, no other people on the planet that can take credit and say that they've been through this. No, people. This is what the scripture said that the true seed of Abraham would go through. This Holocaust. And the scripture said that Abraham seen horror in this dream. It was horror that he seen his seed going through in this 400-year period. America. Those that ran around with sheets on their head, terrorizing us, before they even had to go to those extremes, they didn't need a sheet. They was killing. They would, on the weekends, we had to worry about which one of us was going to be their amusement, for their party of their drinking and their festivities. And which one of us is going to be the clown or the sideshow? Which one of us is going to get burnt, lynched, hung, or all the above? As they partied and had fun, they needed some recreation. They needed some entertainment. And entertainment was a life or two of the black man and woman. Might be one of our lives. And it was just all for entertainment and fun. Our children's lives was being taken. Our children's life was, children was dying a dime a dozen. Children's life is it. Our children was dying all the time. Approximately 200 million of our people died on the trip over in the mid-Atlantic slave trade. This Holocaust, this terror, this horror that America has afflicted on the black man and woman for 400 plus years. 400 plus years. (1555). We were dehumanized. When you say we were not human, they didn't consider us human. They fed us the same thing that animals ate and worse, because they couldn't get animals to eat shitterlings or cow dung, which is cow feces or cow shit, but they can get us to eat it. They'll scoop it off the ground in a little patty and fry it and call it chips. Feed us the shitterlings. Feed us the back corn. Feed us the same thing. That, have you ever been to a farm and seen what they feed animals? The corn, the oats, and all this big thing of slop that they pour down the trough. We was lined up at the troughs and ate out the troughs the same animal feed, because we was considered animals. Animals. And they want to act like they ain't done nothing. They're not going to admit to it. They're not going to think that. They have no remorse for what they done to us. None. We was animals then, and we're really animals now. They just had to change it up. They're still treating us like animals. They still have an end game, is to get rid of them. Get rid of us. As long as you looking at the Abraham covenant, looking at the true seed of Abraham, looking at the children of Israel in their time of being in Egypt, they were never going to be let go. To the end, they wouldn't be. To the end, they were being afflicted. To the end, they were never going to let them go. Never. You understand? This is the conditions. When you read these things, these are the conditions that the black man and woman is going through. And this is how America perceives us. This is how they look at us. 1619. Hold up. 1964. 1964. So for hundreds of years, while you was being beat, hung, tortured, raped, mutilated, castrated, lynched, for hundreds of years, lifetimes, by America. False Jews ain't been through this. They had a direct hand in the demise of the black man and woman. America had a direct hand in the affliction of the black man and woman. They took it. They have us here in their hell, in their hole, underneath their foot. And then they don't want us to go. They're not going to let us go. They're not going to admit that they did anything wrong. They don't see any wrong in what they've done. We are animals in by their constitution. We were written in as animals. 1964. They didn't decide, well, we're going to just, no. They was changing the way they had to change some things to get the same, to carry out the same methods and tactics, but they had to make some changes. So in changing, they had to make you feel like you was a man. But look at all the other things, how they lined it up and took everything that they was saying they was giving to you and was taking it and putting it in other words and other ways to keep you in the same position, and you was still an animal because they still took you and put you right in the penitentiaries. The penitentiaries that they was already filling all through the South, that they already had us filled up in. They made laws, legal representation, and put a system together to where they will lock you up and they were going to get paid from the government, and the people in the government put their private money into private penitentiaries and got paid, so that you get everything they doing. The system paid them. They had the knowledge to put their money in it. These demons put their money in it. Michael Jordan, the damn demon that he is, put his money in to lock his own people up. What? Excuse me. He's a demon to lock us up. Now, this is the Holocaust. This is what they don't want nobody to look at it and pay attention to what being done. They don't want you to know this horror and terror of 400 years of horror, terror, affliction that they put on the black man and woman. The psychological horror and terror. The false God they're giving you. This Jesus mythical character. This spook God. That they tell you, you gotta get to heaven. You gotta die before you gonna get yours. You gotta die before you will see anything. You gotta die before you gonna get a halo on your head, a mansion, and wings. You gotta die to get any of this. And then you better hope that Jesus accepts you, or you gonna go to hell and be tortured and tormented worse than you have been for your whole life. So you go from torment, horror, and torture, and being afflicted back into being afflicted, tormented, burnt, cooked, all those things over again. So Brothers and sisters, this Holocaust, this is the 400 years of horror and terror that Moses seen his people go through. This is the 400 years of affliction that we were to go through. This is the 400 years of affliction that no other people can prove or say that they've been through. The false Jews can't put one iota of what we've been through, that Holocaust against the Holocaust, added up from 1941 to 1945. 4 years of a life versus 400 years. Generations, millions of us dying and being tortured, terrorized in horror, and put through severe torture and horror. They were being put in, taken, walked into a gas chamber and turned on gas. They was there sitting down, never knew what hit them. Is that torture? And they never knew what hit them. They wasn't being raped. Their language, they still speak their language. They didn't lose their language. They didn't lose their culture. They didn't lose nothing. As the rabbis, they're still doing nothing. And they also didn't get passed over. They had a direct hand in the demise of the black man and woman. America had a direct hand in the demise of the black man and woman. And they're going to have a direct consequence for what they've done. Brothers and sisters, this is the Holocaust, and we're not going to allow them to forget it. We're not going to allow them to lessen it. We need you to understand what we've been through. Understand what the 400 years, what it's based on, what the conditions was that caused the God to have to the affliction that Abraham's children seed will go through. You have to understand the seriousness of the affliction, of the horror, and weigh it. The things that your forefathers and mothers went through to get us where we are today. Being burnt, children ate, children used for bait, children hunted, used for hunting gators, children killed every day, just trying to eat. Brothers and sisters killed, hung, just for play, for recreation, for sport. Opened up, mutilated, cut open, operated on with no anesthesia, sewed up with barbed wire, heavily infected, put out in the field, didn't give a damn. All these things hung upside down by our feet, whipped, beat, everything. You couldn't even think. Shit put defecated in the mouth and strapped closed and made to hold it in your mouth from another slave. These things that was taking place with us. The Holocaust, brothers and sisters. Don't forget it. They can say it's critical race theory. It sure ain't slavery. Slavery is nothing but minimum overhead for maximum profit. The Holocaust is terror, horror, affliction. So this is the Holocaust. This is what is bringing on. This is what's fueling this Abraham covenant. What's fueling the lie to get rid of them for what they done to God's chosen people. Abraham's seed, who he made this covenant with. So they can call it a critical race theory all they want. To see if there's consequence. See if their judgment is a theory. And with that, we want to go to our presentation. Presentation is titled Faith in the Time of Trouble. Faith in the time of unprecedented trouble. Looking at what's taking place in the world, and from an angel perspective, knowing what's taking place and being able to see what happening through the unsealed scriptures. Looking, being taught and shared with far in advance, and being able to see and understand what's taking place and looking at it, but still having faith from the truth that you see, the evidence that the truth is showing you, the conditions that are being brought to your mind that the angel gave you to see and recognize before the event takes place. So you see each little part coming to each little part being manifested in your face. So you're seeing these things before those that don't believe or can't see. You're seeing it before them, and you're sharing with them the truth that the angel that you've learned from the messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, the unsealed scriptures that you've learned from the breaker of the seven seals, from Suleiman or from Joshua. So you're taking in the things that was shared from the angel, and you see it all forming up, all lining up, 1, 2, 3, all lining up exactly like the angel shared. And you had to have faith because it was shared with you, and you can see the math in it. You can find and understand, but you still had to have faith in carrying it through and still seeing it beforehand. You had to have faith and see it in your mind. So being able to formulate or being able to see what you know come in fruition, and all the things are lining up, and the seriousness that is being brought to your mind, the things and the ideas and the visions of what may take place and how really causes you to see things that are going to happen. And a lot of these things is already shared in the angel of what's going to happen. But to see how to being able to, the mind starts to vision things ahead and show you in advance. So when you start to understand the seriousness of the time, and you start to see what, excuse me, and you start to see what a existential threat means and what that means to you, and how you need faith in the truth, faith in the angel, to basically, you need faith, and you need those 5 pillars of Islam, because your focus and what the faith and knowing what's taking place does to your mind, and starting to see things a week ahead, a month ahead of the conditions, and looking at what you see in the Holocaust, what was taking place in the Holocaust, when we were literally being afflicted, literally being enslaved and afflicted, and bringing your understanding to that level of horror and terror that we've experienced, starts to come back up through the souls, or through the body, or the mind of the body, of seeing that horror and identifying with that horror. And identifying with that horror to see what's in the near future. It's seeing a part of that horror. Like it's regurgitating or reflecting or coming back through the mind of something or a situation that we will see in the near future to get where we're going. Knowing and being able to see the conditions. When we say a time of unprecedented trouble, when we share an existential threat, the magnitude of the backlash or the resistance of the ones that once afflicted you, the resistance and that they're going to show. Makes the mind understand what type of horror that we're or unprecedented trouble that we're fastly approaching. So we're going to need faith as we move into this period, this abomination of desolation, this war, Armageddon, this unprecedented trouble, this shock of the hour. Because the resistance that is going to be given is not only are we a baby being born or a nation being born or Lazarus being born in this situation, in this time of unprecedented trouble. Like a baby being born on a battlefield. And we have to not only see, we have to unify. We have to move quick. We have to put our minds together and understand what's happening expeditiously. For those that don't even understand what's going on. So the weight on the mind to see the lost minds, the slow minds, the slow reaction that minds are going to be, are people that will be going through in this time of this birth, this unprecedented trouble, this resistance. A people colliding with an existential threat to them. Brothers and sisters, the seriousness of the time that we are in, we being the true seed of Abraham, being the children, the God's chosen people, who God is bringing in and taking out a nation, taking out a people, and bringing in a new heaven and a new earth through us, has to be able to take the pressure, and has to be able to make it through this resistance of this nation, or this world going out. We have to be able to resist and see and bring ourselves out of their resistance. Their resistance to their annihilation or their destruction, their first preservation that they self-preservation is the first law of nature. So seeing or putting yourself in harmony with this truth, and seeing, having the faith and understanding that gives you that the faith is the map that the faith is utilizing to bring understanding and strength to you, allows you to put yourself further ahead in foresight. But seeing this foresight is allowing one to see this time of unprecedented trouble, the Holocaust. What we went through in the Holocaust, we're about to see, brothers and sisters. A time of unprecedented trouble that the mind has to be prepared for. And if the mind is not prepared for the horror, the Holocaust, and the unprecedented trouble, this unprecedented trouble is going to be, it's what we've seen in the Holocaust is not, it's what we're about to see in this time of unprecedented trouble is going to make the Holocaust look like I don't know what child's play. Because this unprecedented trouble is the Holocaust on steroids. It's going to happen suddenly, all at once. All 400-500 years pressed down into 1 year, what we're about to see soon. The mind has to be prepared for what we are about to witness. What we have to be able to move and see and navigate through and be successful in doing it. You're going to have to have faith in what's being shared with you, because you have to be able to see that you're going to be successful. You're going to have to be able to see the truth that is going to give you the strength or the power or the pressure to maintain this higher pressure that will consume or take out all lower pressure. You have to have this. You have to have it. So you will be made to see your security, made to see your success, made to know that you will make it, made to see your reward, made to see that a land is there for you, made to see that Master Fard Muhammad will come and receive you, pick you up. You have to be made to see. You have to have the faith in the facts, in the truth of the unsealed scripture to give you the pressure or the power to bring you out of this gravitational vortex. You have to overcome the resistance of this nation that is being taken out. And this existential threat is going to meet resistance of a nation that is fighting for their lives, for their existence. Do you understand the rules of engagement? Do you understand the rules when it comes to self-preservation? Especially with the devil and Satan. There is no rules. And the devil share with you, if I can't win this, if it wasn't for Master Fard Muhammad stopping them, they will scorch the earth. However, we have to understand You have to see. You have to understand the truth. You have to get the math so that you can build your mind to see it from the standpoint of the truth. You have to be able to see the truth. You have to be able to see it mathematically. You have to know that you know, not just from somebody knowing it. It's just like you have to have the math that's going to back up the mind for the mind can build the pressure, the thought, the thought atmosphere that will bring in this new world, or this, and take out this, or bring in enough pressure enough thought to ignite what's in you, to ignite this change, to bring, to ignite, to survive this. We got to see it. And that's what knowing the truth does. Having the math, being able to facts. Faith is tethered to facts, math, not belief. You wouldn't be able to build the thought and see the idea, the war, and see the thought being manifested, and see what's taking place, and see part. You can. It starts to show you allowing you to see what's ahead. And brothers and sisters, it's not a pretty sight. It's unprecedented trouble. It's very, it's, you haven't seen it in a movie. They haven't presented this in a movie. The losses, those, the movement that you have to go through, and the mindset that you're going to have to be in. Many of our people will be lost for the lack of knowledge. People that you love, people that love you, people that you see, that these things, people that you would want to assist and help, all type, this the Holocaust, in explaining the Holocaust, in looking at what we experienced, the type of horrors, this time of unprecedented trouble is severe. And our people is not awoke and not mentally stable for what they're about to witness. Not mentally stable for what they're going to see. And the losses, and what they don't understand, that this is a war of a war of a nation, of a civilization, a nature, the devil world being taken out and a new one being brought in. So it's an existential threat to one's existence. So the resistance is not going to be, no one's going to let, brothers, no one's going to let, no one's going to walk away, no one's going to give you anything. It's not a cakewalk. It's a time of unprecedented trouble. And the things that we're going to see, you really have to get your mind ready. Because the faith in having the knowledge and the understanding of what, you start to speed up and see things so that you can prepare your mind, so that you can prepare you through your salats, so you can prepare your heart, so you can stay calm, so you can push through, so you can know that you know, so you can see and have the faith to keep you motivated and moving, to bring to channel your thoughts to be successful in this time of unprecedented trouble. So, brothers and sisters, you have to overcome this vortex that this gravitational vortex that you're in, that keeps pulling you into a lower thought level. Because getting understanding and knowing the math and the truth, and the thought comes with that, and the faith works off of knowledge, off of the truth, off of your faith is strengthened by the facts, because faith is tethered to facts. And then it allows your mind to be strengthened. Your thought atmosphere is sped up so that your mind connects to the facts, and the faith speeds your mind up for you can see what's being shared with you and have sight. Where your mind is moving far faster than reality, because you're bringing in this new reality, so you're able to see the reality and what you're going to have to go through or bring it through to bring it into existence. So, this time of the abomination of desolation, brothers and sisters, a time of unprecedented trouble, the level of understanding of what we're going to witness Look at the Holocaust. Look at what we went through the 400-year period of our affliction. And times that by 10. That's what we're about to witness, this time of unprecedented trouble. Now, this abomination and desolation, the JCPOA, is the spark to it. Iran and Syria, Michael and his angels, Iran and Syria are going to war with the dragon and his angels. The dragon is the house of Saudi Arabia, Britain and America, and false Israel. Michael and his angel are going, Iran and Syria is going to remove the house of Saudi Arabia, Britain and America from the Middle East. And they're going to siege and destroy false Israel. This is going to be a shock on the world. They're going to be thinking that they're going to be partying and thinking that, yes, Jesus is coming back, or Messiah is about to save false Israel. And when they see false Israel seized and destroyed, it's going to shock everyone. It's going to make all knees bow and understand that the black man and woman is the true seed of Abraham. And then it's going to put the light on who America is. They're Pharaoh. They have afflicted the black. They're the ones that afflicted the black man and woman, and the ones that had their hand in it and kidnapped us is destroyed at that point. And they know that they're not just kidnapped us, stole our identity. The world's going to know that they're not the true seed of Abraham. That lie cannot be stood on anymore. And that we, the Caucasian white man is the devil. With that, brothers, that's the abomination of desolation. And when this happens, they're going to attack us. They're going to immediately go to war with Russia, trying to pull all the brothers and sisters that they can get to go fight this war for them. And anyone that don't want to fight, they're going to get rid of you. They're going to want to. They're going to try to get rid of you. Put it like that. But this war in the Middle East will ignite the war of Armageddon, which this time of unprecedented trouble, this will be that time that we're going through and moving through. However, we have to, brothers and sisters, you really have to think. And I mean think hard and get serious of looking at your children, looking at your family, looking and trying to understand the truth. Who are you? Are you Abraham's seed? Are you an original black man or woman? Or are you a demon? If you're a demon, we're not speaking to you. But if you're an original black man or woman, and you understand and you see these things, you have to understand what's about to take place. And look at Just take a look back at what we keep sharing on the Holocaust and know that it's 10 times worse. This time of unprecedented trouble, this existential threat that we are to a nation, to a civilization, to a God that is being taken out. How they're going, that resistance, and you have to be able to raise your thought level, raise up out of this gravitational vortex that is pulling, that you have to, the thought atmosphere has to be running and moving fast. So every time they make a move, you've already seen it far in advance. So you can be successful. However, I'm going to bring this presentation to a close. You have to have faith in the truth, in the Injil, brothers and sisters. Faith in the messenger of the covenant. To be successful. And with that, I'm going to greet you in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.